Hi everyone. Like Shannon said, we're here to present the top 20 things youth with disabilities need to know about the Department of Rehabilitation. We're so happy to be here today and to be able to share this information with all of you. And we'd like to thank the California Foundation for Independent Living Centers and Yo Disabled and Proud for giving us this opportunity and forum to bring you this pertinent information. We would like to spend a few minutes introducing ourselves and our background. Pam, would you like to start?
Thanks, Alia. My name is Pam Ossmann. I work for the Department of Rehabilitation in the Workforce Development section. We work with employers who might be interested in hiring our clients. And I've worked as a counselor for 12 years with both youth and adults. The rest of my background includes everything from babysitting to sales clerk. I worked my way through college as a waitress. As an adult, I've spent many years in community-based programs for people with disabilities. Lana?
Hi, my name is Lana Reynolds, and I also work for the Department of Rehabilitation with Workforce Development Section. I have been a counselor for deaf and hard of hearing, where I served all ages of individuals, and now I work with mostly with our business partners, helping them understand what hiring somebody with a disability means. Alia?
Hi, my name is Alia Kuraishi. I've worked for the Department of Rehabilitation for 7 years. For 6 years, I worked as a rehabilitation counselor with many different populations, but more specifically with transition-aged youth in transition partnership programs and supported employment programs. I've also worked as a co-counselor on site at the California Youth Leadership Forum for the past 5 years. Now I work in our workforce development section, working with businesses on how it is beneficial for them to hire people like you. Sarah?
Thank you, Alia. Hi, my name is Candee, and I've worked for the Department of Rehabilitation for 4 years. I started out 4 years ago as a student assistant, working for DOR and going to school at the same time. In my work at DOR, I assist and support youth programs throughout the state, including transition partnership programs, Workabilities, and the California Youth Leadership Forum. I worked a few jobs prior to this in high school, such as a dance instructor, babysitter, and a fitness coach at Curves. And I'm currently working towards my bachelor's degree at California State University, Sacramento. Torria?
Hi, my name is Torria, and I work at the Department of Rehabilitation in the Collaborative Services section, providing administrative support for transition partnership programs and workability programs throughout the state, as well as in the California Youth Leadership Forum. I have been with the state for almost a year. I'm a full-time student at Sacramento State University and will be graduating in December with my bachelor's in business administration. I'm going to pass this to Pam to begin. Pam?
Thanks, Torria. So we'd like to start out by doing a poll. We're going to see if you were listening, and you can kind of check in with this. So the poll is, have you heard of the Department of Rehabilitation? If you want to say yes, you'll check the green. Check the green, click on the green there. If you have not, you'll check on the red X. And we'll give you a few seconds to do that, and then we'll tally it. So check the green for yes, the red X for no. 47% yes. Okay, that's really good. 47% of you, yes, have heard of the Department of Rehabilitation. Well, we're happy about that. We're here to share as much information as we can to encourage you to look into our services. I mean, it's possible for you folks who have never heard of the Department of Rehabilitation. We're going to start at the beginning. We're a state agency that has an office in your community, and counselors who can assist you one-on-one along the road to employment and independence. Whether it's getting your first job or developing a plan for a career, the Department of Rehabilitation provides a whole variety of services to people of all ages, including teens making the transition out of high school, that's our focus today, and with many types of disabilities. The Department of Rehabilitation works closely with individuals to help them achieve their goals for employment, independence, and equality. As a state agency, our mission is to work in partnership with consumers and other stakeholders to provide services and advocacy resulting in employment, independent living, and equality for individuals with disabilities. So we're going to slip in another quick poll here. Okay, if you know what vocational means, click on green, the green check. If you don't know what vocational means, that's okay, click on the red X. It'll take a couple seconds. Yes for the green check, no for the red X. Looking good. Got a lot of green check marks there. 57% of you, that's awesome. Well, we want you to make sure that you know that when we say vocational, when you hear that word, just equate it with work-related. As in vocational skills, that would be skills for a job. If it's vocational planning, that would be planning for a job, and all the things that are entailed in that. You may be thinking of rehabilitation, like the Department of Rehabilitation, as in drugs and alcohol, but we're not really talking about that. We're talking about vocational rehabilitation. We assist people with disabilities in going to work. And we're also often confused with the State Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, but again, we are talking about vocational rehabilitation services and reaching your goal of employment. You may have heard of the Americans with Disabilities Act, that's the ADA, signed into federal law in 1990. The ADA prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability in housing and employment and ensures accessibility in public places. The Department of Rehabilitation is designated to serve as the lead state agency in California's efforts to implement the ADA in our Golden State. Okay, let's get started on the top 20 things you as a youth with a disability need to know about the Department of Rehabilitation. Number one, the Department of Rehabilitation works with people with all types of disabilities. From the slide you can see, the next slide, that includes deaf and hard of hearing, blind or visually impaired, mobility disabilities, learning disabilities, intellectual disabilities, physical disabilities, mental health disabilities, and the list goes on. Now you may be looking at that list and thinking, I don't fit in any of these categories. But remember, if you have now or have had an IEP, individual education plan, in high school, or have received regional center services or disabled student services accommodations in your college, then you may want to consider applying for Department of Rehabilitation services. On to number two, the Department of Rehabilitation provides services to people of all age that are seeking employment. So once you're old enough to work with a work permit, you may qualify for Department of Rehabilitation services. As a youth, Department of Rehabilitation may be the right path for you if you're seeking your first job or if you're looking for a lifelong career or possibly some training. We work to assist people of all ages that are qualified to work in the state of California. Number three. The Department of Rehabilitation provides services throughout the whole state of California. We're going to do a little exercise here. We're going to walk through to find an office. The addresses and the phone numbers of all offices in the state are posted on our customer website under the Find Us tab, then the DOR office location. Let's go there. They're listed by county, so we're going to follow the link and use this example. Let's say that Torria lives in Long Beach, and she wants to find a Department of Rehabilitation office She knows that Long Beach is in Los Angeles County, so she would click on the Los Angeles link. Now, LA is a big area. There are several more links to different areas in LA. You can see those on the side. If you don't know which area you live in, you can click on each one and get specific lists of offices in that area, for the offices nearest you. We happen to know that Long Beach is in the South Bay area, so we'll choose Los Angeles, South Bay. Okay. And there it is, the Long Beach office. It has the address and the phone number listed right there. If you have difficulties navigating through this website or finding an office nearest you, you can just call any DOR office within your county, and they should be able to assist you in finding the office closest to you. The next step is to find out when an orientation is scheduled and make arrangements to attend. You can call the office for the orientation. At the orientation, be sure to listen to the information and ask questions that can help you make a decision about whether you want to proceed. Number 4, Department of Rehabilitation orientations are unique to each office throughout the state. As we were saying, orientations can be standard or unique depending on the office or the rehabilitation counselor you're working with. Some orientations are in a group and they take place in the Department of Rehabilitation office. They're usually scheduled weekly. Other orientations may take place one-on-one when you meet with your vocational rehabilitation counselor after you turn in your application for services. If by chance you're part of another program such as the TPP or Workability, which we'll discuss later in more detail, your orientation may occur at your high school, at your college, or the Career Center. It's important during the orientation to ask questions about our services, should you have any questions at all. And most importantly, to be on time and prepared for the orientation. Remember, the Department of Rehabilitation is focused on employment. So anytime we meet you, anytime you're meeting with anyone in the Department of Rehabilitation for any reason, they will be looking at you from an employer's point of view. Okay, let's move on to the next step, the application process. So in this slide, we'll go through that. If you did not apply to the Department of Rehabilitation prior to your orientation, you'll need to do so should you be interested in our services. So let's imagine that you talked with your parents, you talked with your friends, you think work is a great idea and you think you'll benefit from assistance, so you'd like to start the process. You can apply for services by completing an online vocational rehabilitation services application. And this application and additional documents, such as the health questionnaire and the employment record, will ask lots of questions about your disability, education, interests, and other personal information. We can help you best when we know all about you. And it is important when working with the Department of Rehabilitation to be as complete and thorough as possible when filling out your paperwork and communicating with Department of Rehabilitation staff. So we're going to click on the link from this slide to go to the page where the online application for services is located. Okay. You can see this page highlights the 3 requirements for the application process and how to proceed with a request for services. These include completing the application, vocational rehabilitation services application, providing all necessary documentation such as disability-related medical documents, school records, and proof of any Social Security benefits such as SSI or SSDI, providing additional information that might be requested by your rehabilitation counselor, and being available to participate in all steps of the application and assessment process. If you need any assistance in completing the application, please speak to someone at your local Department of Rehabilitation office and you can get some help. Okay, number 5. The Department of Rehabilitation's assessment process begins when you walk into the Department of Rehabilitation. What this means is the process begins from the moment you walk in to inquire about our services. So you want to always put your best foot forward. This is why we earlier talked about the DOR staff looking at you from the employer's point of view. All of your paperwork should be complete. You just should attend all meetings on time and be prepared. Follow through is a key element to successfully achieving your employment goals. And everyone who assists you throughout your process with the Department of Rehabilitation is there to help and wants you to do your best. However, only you can make the decision to be motivated and achieve your goals, and this starts from the very beginning. So Lana will talk now about the 6 things you need to know about the Department of Rehabilitation. Lana?
Thank you, Pam. Number 6, Department of Rehabilitation will assist you in obtaining all the documents you need to prove your disability. In order for your rehabilitation counselor to assist you, we need a few pieces of information. After you meet with your rehabilitation counselor, we will let you know exactly what you may need. This could include, but may not be limited to, school documentation, such as your individual education plan, IEP, and transcripts, medical documentation verifying your disability, which we can help you at Department of Rehabilitation get if you don't have this. This may include your psychological or psychiatric records as well, and verification of SSI if you receive it. But don't worry about having to get these yourself. Department of Rehabilitation will get all of this information if you do not have them on hand or are unsure of how to go about getting them. We can help you get the proper documentation and diagnosis, should you not have it available from other sources. But you have to be able to fully participate in the assessment process. In addition to these pieces of information, you also need to be motivated to receive the full benefit of DOR services. As we said, you should be in a place in your life where you are able to participate and can benefit from DOR services to achieve a goal of being employed. Number 7, Department of Rehabilitation will determine your eligibility for services within 60 days of your application. From the day of application, your Department of Rehabilitation counselor has 60 days to find you eligible. Although the determination could be made sooner, should your rehabilitation have all of the information they need. During those 60 days, they will be looking at your disability and whether you can benefit from services. You will learn more about the eligibility process once you attend an orientation and meet with the counselor. So now you've been found eligible for DOR services. Now what? Number 8. Your individual plan for employment, or IPE, will be written within 90 days of your eligibility determination for Department of Rehabilitation services. Just as you have done in school, creating a plan for your education, you will work with your rehabilitation counselor to develop an individual plan for employment, or IPE. This plan for your employment will be finalized in 90 days or less from the point you are found eligible for services. Number 9, your rehabilitation counselor will work with you in developing an individual plan for employment. This is a team process, and it's up to you to be part of the planning for your future. Your rehabilitation counselor will work with you in developing the plan, but you need to speak up about your goals and the services you may need to achieve those goals. It is not uncommon for youth to be unsure about their vocational goals. This is okay. Your rehabilitation counselor is here to help you through the process of finding a vocational goal that fits with you. The individual plan for employment is unique for each person, and it will be tailored to you. Number 10. You, with your rehabilitation counselor, will explore and find a vocational goal that matches your skills, your interests, taking into consideration your disability. With the help of your counselor, you'll discuss and explore everything from your personal likes and dislikes to your strengths, your weaknesses, from volunteer work you might have done to where you want to be in 5, 10, 15 years in the future. Some questions to consider with your rehabilitation counselor include: what kind of skills, experience, or education do employers expect applicants to have in order to be considered for openings? Where are the jobs now, or where would they be in the future? Are you looking to get your first job or start on a path to a career? It all starts with you and your vocational rehabilitation counselor having an open and honest discussion about you and your employment needs. As part of this investigation, your counselor may recommend using resources to complete vocational assessments, which can give you ideas to guide you towards a goal that is the best match for you. Now we're going to take a look at some of those resources. You want to get a jump start on your career investigation. Don't wait for your vocational rehabilitation counselor to do the work. Visit these resources and learn about yourself, the employment options available to you, and the training that will prepare you for them. Let's take a look at some of these websites. First, we have the California Career Zone, where you can take an assessment that helps you know yourself better to help you pick a career field that you would enjoy. It also gives you tools to explore job families and what occupations are within that job family that would be the best fit for you. My favorite tool on the California Career Zone is the reality check. This is a tool to look realistically at what you will need to pay for housing, transportation, and clothes. You will find out how much money you need and which job will pay for those needs. There's also a place where you can assess yourself and get an idea of what you may like in your skill level. Then there is the Talent Knows No Limits, which you may have already seen. The Youth Transitional Toolkit through the Talent Knows No Limits website allows you to explore and learn more about education, employment, independent living, finances, and many other things. Let's take a quick look at this video.
And we're only going to watch about the first 40 to 50 seconds.
Adulthood. Things are about to change. So many things to be responsible for that you never really had to do before. But with some help, you can be prepared to take it all on and make going to college, going to work, or living on your own something to look forward to. With the help of some people who have already gone through many of the situations you're about to face, we'll take you through a variety of subjects and give you lots of useful information, tips, and advice that will help you as you transition into adulthood. We'll provide guidance on everything from education and healthcare to finances and independent living. You'll get a great overview of the things you need to know to help you get out there and live the life you want to live. So, let's get started.
And we're going to move on to the next link.
The next link is the ONET Academy, which has many different tools for you to use on your career exploration. Here you can find which skills are most used on each position, which job has a sunny outlook, take webinars about how to move on with your career, and what the wages are for the jobs that are in California. You'll be able to look at California's wages as well as national wages. This is a great tool, and the webinars that they have are excellent ideas to look at before you meet with your DOR counselor. Your rehabilitation counselor may utilize these or other resources to help you come to a vocational goal, but it never hurts to start researching early. There are some questions you will need to answer with the help of your rehabilitation counselor to complete your individual plan for employment. It is important to be considering these along the way as you are researching your job goals. When you first create a personal IPE, you will include information that can answer these questions. First and foremost, what is the employment goal that is a good match for you? Is it realistic? Is it attainable? What services are necessary to achieve your employment goal? Who will help you along the way? How will progress towards the completion of your employment goal be measured? What are the timelines for achieving your employment goal? Alia will go through more on what an IPE entails. Alia?
Thanks, Lana. Number 11. Your individual plan for employment must be completed and signed by you and your rehabilitation counselor before services begin. You may be eager to get started working on your goals, but know that services cannot begin until it is signed and you have approval from your counselor to begin working towards your goal and utilizing the services agreed upon in the IPE. Any changes that you know of that may affect your IPE, such as a change in your address, job goal, education goal, etc., need to be discussed with your rehabilitation counselor immediately so an amendment can be put into place and your services can continue. Moving to number 12. Signing your individual plan for employment is the beginning of your employment journey. It is important for you to know that with this awesome opportunity to begin your employment journey, just like a job, it comes with responsibilities. Your counselor will review these responsibilities, and you will have a copy of them as they're individualized to you and your goals. For example, if you're taking classes at a local community college as part of your IPE, your rehabilitation counselor may need your grades at the end of each semester. It is your responsibility to ensure that your counselor receives your grades in a timely manner so that we can continue to support you in your IPE. Same thing goes if you're working with a job developer or an employment coordinator. It is your responsibility to make all the meetings and assignment deadlines to reach your IPE goal. We keep referring to the fact that the individual plan for employment is unique to you and that services may be different for each person. So now we're going to talk about some of the services that may be provided in your IPE, which leads us to number 13. There are many Department of Rehabilitation services that would benefit you. DOR services may include, but are not limited to, vocational counseling and guidance, referrals to other agencies, job search and placement assistance, vocational and other training, books and supplies required for training, occupational licenses, tools, and equipment, clothing for interviews, work clothing, transportation, assistive technology evaluations and resources. Again, these services are individualized, and your counselor will identify with you what services are most appropriate for your IPE. Moving to number 14. The Department of Rehabilitation strives to collaborate with your support team, meaning that they're trying to work with your support team. What is a support team? It's all the people around you that help and affect your life and your future. Everyone's support team is different. Yours may be made up of your family, your school counselors, your teachers, your case manager, your friends, your ILS worker, and or your regional center service coordinator. Finding a job or training for a career is very hard work. And it's your responsibility to make sure that you have all the help you need to be successful. It is important to have people that will support you throughout the process of working on your IPE, reaching your employment goal, and throughout the rest of your working career. Even after you get your job, you'll need a support team to ensure that you maintain a successful career. Let's move on to the next thing you should know about Department of Rehabilitation. Number 15, you will have rights and responsibilities as a Department of Rehabilitation consumer. As stated earlier in the webinar, once you are a consumer of the Department of Rehabilitation, you have consumer responsibilities. However, you are not the only one with responsibilities in this process. Your rehabilitation counselor has responsibilities as well. In the event you disagree with the decisions made about your case, you have rights, which we will review. But first, let's talk about the responsibilities part. Some of the responsibilities you have, but are not limited to, maintain contact with your counselor and keep all appointments, discuss any changes that might be needed in your plan, participate fully in your job search and placement activities, provide regular progress updates, grade, and attend annual review meetings as required, communicate and interact with courtesy, consideration, and respect. Okay, and moving over to your counselor, some of the responsibilities that they have but are not limited to: providing counseling and guidance, keeping information confidential except when required by law, inform you of available resources and referrals as appropriate, inform you about the Client Assistance Program, assist you in coordinating services for your plan, communicate and interact with courtesy, consideration, and respect. Hopefully everything goes according to plan, but should there be any issues or disagreements between you and your counselor, you have rights that we will review right now. You should always try to work it out with your counselor first, but should that not resolve the issue, you have the right to contact the rehabilitation supervisor and ask for them to review your case or that issue. If by chance you're still not satisfied with that end result, you have the right to contact our Client Assistance Program, also known as CAP. This leads us to number 16. Number 16, the Client Assistance Program is available should you need it. A little information about our Client Assistance Program. CAP advocates are not employees of the Department of Rehabilitation. They serve as independent advocates. If you cannot achieve a resolution to your concerns at a local level, CAP may help you request, prepare for, and or represent you at a mediation meeting, administrative review, or a fair hearing. We're going to click on the link and take a look at the CAP webpage. Here you can find more information about CAP. As you can see at the bottom, it has the phone numbers for you to contact. If you click on one of the CAP advocate links, it will take you to a list where you choose by county. After you select the county you live in, it will direct you to a CAP office nearest you. Now that we've gone through the thick of the IPE, let's move on to some other information about DOR. Number 17. Department of Rehabilitation works with local school districts. Like we mentioned earlier in the webinar, We work with school districts to help provide support and resources to transition-age youth seeking employment. This may include you. If you're a high school student, you might know about the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, which mandates that public schools provide education services under an IEP, Individual Education Plan, to help you achieve your educational goals. We're going to take a quick poll. Green check if you know. If you don't know, click the red X. Good. Nice. 60% of you answered that you do. Awesome. Many of you are familiar with these IEPs and have had them for years. To explain a little bit more, an IEP is in place for students with disabilities so that your teachers knew how you learned and retained information. Also, an IEP is set up to be in place for any accommodations that you may have for your education. But not all students with disabilities have IEPs, and that may be you as well. Okay? Moving on. We're going to start talking about another program called Transition Partnership Program. Has anyone heard of a Transition Partnership Program? We're going to do another poll here. You're going to mark a green check if you have heard of Transition Partnership Program, and a red X if you haven't. Anybody else? Red X if you haven't, green check if you have heard of TPP's, Transition Partnership Program. So it looks like about 30% don't know about Transition Partnership Program and 17% do. Okay. Well, Transition Partnership Program, also called TPP. This program between the Department of Rehabilitation and local school districts began with the purpose of successfully transitioning high school students with disabilities into meaningful employment and or college or vocational training programs. You may be a student in a TPP right now. In California, there are more than 100 TPPs. Under these agreements, the DOR assigns a vocational rehab counselor to be actively involved with the student and their school. The school provides exclusive training and enhanced vocational programming to enable TPP students to achieve employment utilizing community-based instruction, vocational and work-site training, job placement, and follow-up services upon graduation. Many times the TPP has a job developer and or an employment specialist that works closely with the TPP students. If you're still in high school and thinking that you might be interested in DOR services, you may want to talk with your school to see if there is a transition partnership program in place that you can sign up with. Your case manager or your workability teacher would know if a TPP is in place at your school and who you should talk to about getting started. Here are some interesting facts that will get you motivated about joining a TPP program. 40% of the Department of Rehabilitation's transition-age students are currently served by a transition partnership program. 1 out of 2 Transition Partnership Program students is successfully employed, so about half. And as of 2011, Transition Partnership Program students constitutes about 20% of the Department of Rehabilitation's total successful placements. Your school advisors, teachers, or TPP staff can answer your questions and help you begin the DOR application process. If you're already in a TPP program, you're currently taking advantage of the DOR resources and services. Some of you may be thinking, wait, what if I'm a student in a Workability 1 program? How is that any different? How many of you have heard of Workability 1? Please green check if you know about it, red X if you don't know about it. Good participation, everybody. Okay. All right, looks like 30% of you do know about Workability One, about 34% of you do not know about Workability One. The difference is with Workability One programs, they offer students with disabilities the opportunity to complete their secondary education while also obtaining marketable job skills. The Workability One program provides comprehensive pre-employment skills training, job placement, and follow-up for high school students with disabilities who are making the transition from school to work, independent living, and post-secondary education or training. However, not every school has a transition partnership program or a Workability One program. No matter what your situation in high school may be, you can always inquire with your Workability One teacher, transition partnership program, school counselor, or local DOR office to find out more about services. There are many school programs out there. Now Sarah is going to talk about some school programs at the college level. Sarah?
All right, thank you, Alia. It looks from our polls that you guys probably learned a lot about some programs at the high school level available to you. So now let's go into number 18 and talk about some college resources. Number 18, the Department of Rehabilitation works with colleges throughout California. Similar to partnering with high schools, the Department of Rehabilitation partners with colleges throughout California as well. So let's talk about some of the resources and programs that are available to you at the college level. Okay, we're going to start out with another poll. How many of you have heard of Disability Services and Programs for Students? It's sometimes called DSPS. So click the green check if you have heard of DSPS, and the red if you have not heard of DSPS. Wow. It looks like it's about 50-50 again. Although there's quite a few people who have heard about it. Okay. Let's do another one real fast. How many of you have heard of either Workability 2s, Workability 3s, or Workability 4s? Do the green X if you have heard about Workabilities, Workability 3s and 4s, these are at the college level. Wow. All right. Quite a few of you have. Okay, let's talk about these services. Disability Services and Programs for Students, DSPS, provides school guidance and counseling for students with disabilities, along with accommodations similar to what you may have outlined in your individual education plan at school, your IEP. But these are not the only services that DSPS provides. If you're thinking about taking some community college classes, it's very important to register with your DSPS office so you can ensure your success at the community college level. Workability 3s are programs at community colleges as well, and they're usually ran along with career services to assist students and graduates with internship opportunities as well as employment opportunities. They're trying to find you that job to help you through school or after you're done getting your education. The Department of Rehabilitation and the community college are partners with the students when they work with the Workability 3 program. Workability 4 programs are very similar to Workability 3s. They are at the state college level and the universities. And they're not at every state college or every university, but they are at several of them throughout California. They're also usually ran along with career services to assist with internship and employment opportunities. And the department also partners with the colleges and universities to provide employment services to students that are in the Workability 4 program. Many times the Workability 4 employment outcomes are a little bit different. They're more on the student's career track, as most students at state colleges and universities are seeking at minimum a bachelor's degree. It's important to remember with this that all universities and colleges are different and may have unique programs to assist students with disabilities in employment. The best way to find out about these is to talk to your counseling office though. You can work with your school's program and your rehabilitation counselor whether or not the school has one of these mentioned programs. Okay, let's move on to number 19. The Department of Rehabilitation partners with the 29 independent living centers in California. So the Department of Rehabilitation, as you have just heard, partners with many different entities, and this includes the 29 ILCs throughout California. The Department of Rehab provides technical assistance and financial support for the independent living centers and helps to promote and spread the message of California ILCs. You can follow the link on this slide at a separate time to go to the Department of Rehabilitation's Independent Living Section webpage, and you can learn more about the department's partnership with the independent living centers that is nearest you. So let's move on to our very last top 20, number 20. The Department of Rehabilitation is the key to your successful employment. Between the support of your Department of Rehabilitation counselor, the services we can provide, the referrals and resources we have available, you have no other choice but to show up and be successful in your employment goal. Another key to your success is you. So maybe now, after hearing all about the Department of Rehabilitation and what we can do for you, you are questioning whether or not you are ready to apply for our services. So we're going to have the Torria go over a few things that you can ask yourself.
Thank you, Sarah. The basic questions you want to ask yourself are, do I want to work? Do I need help getting or keeping a job because of my disability? Do I believe DOR services such as training, education, job preparation, job placement assistance, or job coaching will help me get or keep a job? If you answer yes to most of these, then we recommend applying for services using the steps previously mentioned and attending an orientation for the Department of Rehabilitation. The next question you want to ask yourself is, are you ready to work? The number one consideration is your motivation with a capital M. What motivates you? Some people are motivated by getting a paycheck and having access to money they earn. You may be receiving SSI disability benefits, but a paycheck can allow you greater independence to make choices about the things you need and want. Independence. There's that word again. Comes with many costs, such as transportation, housing, food, entertainment, and the list goes on and on. If you never had a job, then getting your first job is a big, big step, and maybe the foundation you need for future employment. Now let's look at two clips of motivated youth who are actively involved in their future with the assistance of DOR.
Okay, we're going to open another link to a video.
You know, education's one of those things that anything in your life that you can think of, you can bring back to education. You know, you can get a job, you can get a career that you're very comfortable with and that you like, but if you don't have a certain amount of education, you can find yourself stuck, unfortunately. You know, a lot of people say that degree is just a piece of paper. Why is it so important? It's important because that piece of paper is going to show that you're qualified to get promoted, and with that promotion comes more money, and with more money comes more freedom in your life to buy and do what you want to do.
Once you have an employment goal in your mind, it's important to know what skills you need to be able to get there. And if you need to have a college education, start thinking about college early on so that you can plan for, you know, what classes you need to take in high school, and, you know, if you need to take the SAT, and figure out what steps you need to take to get you where you want to go.
People are able to learn certain different ways. Like with my ADD and ADHD, I have difficulty learning. I worked really hard. I mean, not just by myself. I had the help of, my family and my friends behind me, having me able to stay up so late at night writing papers. I hate papers. I really do. You're going to have to write every day, regardless of what you do. And you're going to have to know how to spell, how to do correct punctuation, capitalization, everything. So I think education is probably one of the most important things a kid could ever have.
Tap into your friends that are a little older than you and ask them, when you were moving out on your own, what did you do? They're educating you on what to do. Asking questions is getting education.
It's hard to be different sometimes, but you can still accomplish things, and the more that you accomplish, especially if you get your education, it's going to open doors for you, and you'll be able to do things without letting your disability, whatever it may be, stop you.
I think it's important to have a job so that you can be a part of the world, put yourself out there, get to meet new people. It builds character for you, and it makes you strong.
It's nice to have something, a reason to get up in the morning and go to work, or be able to contribute and give back to your community is a really nice feeling.
I think it's important for anybody to have a job. You have to grow up someday and pay your bills and be an adult member of society, and that there's no exception to that for people with disabilities. Why not?
When I was younger, I wanted to be an astronaut, and then going through middle school, I wanted to be an actor. Going through high school, I wanted to be a 3D animation artist. And as soon as I got into college, now I want to be a business and marketing major.
You have to have priorities as you grow up, and a main priority has to start being, taking responsibility for your own finances and all that comes along with that. So I think that it shifts with age what you're looking for in a job or a career.
I work at Sam's Club. I specialize in serving samples for shoppers coming through, eating and shopping at the same time. Everybody else is the same as you. They're only human. All you have to do is be truthful and believe in yourself, and you can open any door that you want to. Now, even though I was nervous and I didn't really know what I was doing and I had to learn as I went along, I also figured out that I was good with people. I think it builds character for you to be out in the world on your own, to be able to survive on your own.
It does get frustrating when you're sick and you can't go to work, or when you have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and catch the early bus, but the reward, not only to be able to contribute to our society, but also the feeling of when you help people. So one thing is to be there and have someone help you, but when the tables turn and now you're the one they're coming to for assistance, it makes getting assistance from other people more bearable, because you know that when the opportunity presents itself where you're going to assist someone, it's gratifying not only for the individual but for yourself.
All right, on to our resources. Here are some useful resources for you. Although they have been stated earlier in the webinar, we just want to put them in one place for easier access. The first one is the Department of Rehabilitation's website, where you can look for an office near you, get information on how to apply for services, discover what other resources are out there that you may benefit from, as well as some great facts. Next is a California Career Zone, where you can take an assessment that can help you know yourself better to help you pick a career field that you would enjoy. It also gives you tools to explore job families and what occupations are within the job family that are best fit for you. Our favorite tool on the California Career Zone is the reality check. This is a tool to look realistically at what you will need to pay for housing, transportation, and clothes, and also to find out how much money you will need and which job will pay for all your needs. The next website is a list of the 29 independent living centers in California. Here you can research ILCs by county and contact them should you be interested in services. On this next link, we have the one-stop career centers, where you can also find them listed by county. The one-stops all have different employment resources, so it is a good idea to research what resources your one-stop has available to you. One-stops are free job centers with job referrals, resources, and local services. Next, you have the Talent Knows No Limit Youth Transition Toolkit. It is a great guide for young people with disabilities transitioning into adulthood. And our last link is on the Department of Rehabilitation's website, where it links you to our videos. These are all very helpful and informative, so check them out. The ones we think you will enjoy the most are Things Are About to Change. This shows real stories of youth transitioning to adulthood. I Can Work. In this video, job seekers talk about their outcomes from their point of view. Employment, Independence, and Equality. This video talks about the history of the disability movement and an overview of DOR services. And It's Up to You. This outlines DOR roles and the DOR process. These are just some of the resources we want to share with you. Now we would like to open it up for questions.
All right, we'll start with our first question. When can I initiate services for my child? Will I need to bring up the transitional or workability program in his high school, or will the districts bring up DOR services to us? Also, how does the regional center collaborate with DOR when it is time for my child to access DOR services?
Hi, Angel. This is Alia. Thank you for your question. In here, initiating services, like we talked about, when you're of working age is the most appropriate time, or when your son or daughter is at working age is when it's probably most appropriate to start looking into Department of Rehabilitation services. With Regional Center, if you have a service coordinator that you're working with, the service coordinator, you would express that in your IPP, your IPP meetings. You would let them know that, hey, my son or daughter is looking at going to work maybe when they're 20 or 22, whenever that time is going to happen. And at that time, that's when you would say, they would bring up DOR, and there are counselors that are specialized. Like I said, I was specialized in supported employment, and so was Pam, I know that. And so we worked very closely with the regional centers throughout California. So they would hook you up with the Department of Rehabilitation counselor that knows all of those additional services. Those are a little bit different than our general services. And then for the transition partnership program or the workability program, these are things that should be probably discussed in those IEP meetings that you guys are probably going to already. They probably won't bring them up till your student is about 16 years old. 15, 16 years old, they'll start talking about workability and transition partnership programs if there is one available. Thank you.
All right, I see somebody else is typing. Does anybody else have a question? You want to raise your hand? Is there anybody on the phone who has a question?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Priyanka, and I am currently actually a DOR client, and my question was, with regards to the book vouchers, are the students who receive a DOR book voucher allowed to buy books from outside the bookstore, because those books are available at a cheaper price? They're the same books, however, if you purchase them in the university bookstore, the price is naturally higher.
This is Pam. Thank you for asking this question. The question is, if you are a Department of Rehab client now, and you're in school, and you have a voucher for a book, can you make book purchases outside of, say, the school bookstore? I'll try to answer it quickly.
Yes, that's correct.
Pardon me? She said that's correct. Okay, good. So the department can't work with everybody. We have to go through special agreements to work and pay different vendors. And generally, when you get a voucher, it says that it's made out to your school, or that it's made out to whoever you need to make that purchase from. It's not very easy to flip-flop around and make purchases all over. Generally, the school has an agreement with the department to take that voucher It's made out to that school, and that allows you to get your books more quickly than other possible ways. But there is a process of approving anyone who we buy materials or books from. And so those aren't transferable to other businesses or vendors. Does that answer your question?
So just to clarify, the student who's currently receiving the voucher would have to purchase the books from the university bookstore, is that correct?
The student who currently holds the voucher would have to purchase the books at the bookstore, yes. The voucher is made out to that store, and if you're the student, you would take it in.
Thank you. I also had one more question.
Okay, go ahead with your other question.
Hello? My question was also about parking, because as a student and due to the nature of my disability, I would be having my personal assistant transport me to my classes in the van, and we would be using the disabled parking spots for me, and I was wondering if DOR could assist with the parking permit.
This is Alia. So your question is about parking, correct? And it's about that you would need a parking permit to park in the accessible parking at school? Is that correct?
The park in the university lot or parking spaces.
Well, the answer to that is going to, and probably almost to a lot of these, it's going to be case-by-case basis, like we talked about in the webinar. It's very individualized. You're going to want to talk to your counselor, and you're going to want to find out, depending on where you go to school, because California has all different universities and colleges, every situation is different with parking. Even in Sacramento, just the colleges we have here, the parking's different. And the whole permit thing's different almost on every campus. So I would say definitely talk to your counselor and let them know your issue and see how you guys can resolve that.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question, written question. This is Lana from Lourdes Blackman. Says, I got ahead of myself with this webinar, but very interesting information and gives me hope for my son about his future. Does the Department of Rehabilitation have any programs to support small kids 6 years old and up? Because we are a vocational, meaning work, we start working with individuals when they are of working age. So if you are 16 and up, then we can work with you. As for smaller children, there's other agencies that we could refer you to that might have better programs for someone that's young. Specifically your schools, or your, if you're regional center, or some of the independent living centers even. Hope that answers your question.
Okay, I see a few other people are typing. While they finish typing their questions, is there anybody else who has a question? We just got a couple in. Okay, we'll handle this one. I have one more question. How can this training be brought to school districts for parents to find out about DOR services? Parents in the district can really use this. So one of the things you can do is, because this is going to be a recorded webinar, you can replay this webinar at a different facility. So if something can be set up for parents to attend one night and watch the webinar, or send the link to the parents for them to watch at home or at their local library, wherever they would have access to a computer with internet. The other thing you can do is make sure that they know about the Department of Rehab offices that are in their area. They can always go into an office just to ask questions or call the phone number to ask questions and get more information. And also our website, I'll give it to you right now, I'll type it out to everyone, but it's www.dor.ca.gov, and I'm going to send it to everybody. So if you're on the webinar on the internet right now, you can see it there. It is one of the messages I just sent, but you can also go to it yourself if you wrote it down or remember it, or just Google search Department of Rehabilitation California as well. That should get you there. Any other questions?
Today's webinar was really helpful and useful in finding out what services and resources Department of Rehab has for youth. Thank you so much for taking these calls and being so interactive. Just want to say thank you so much for your attendance and your engagement. It was really great to see how responsive you are with the polls. We love working with youth, and we appreciate you guys coming and wanting to learn about the different services, and we hope that you can join future webinars that are coming up. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to call or email me or Rosemary, and also the presenters.
Thank you, Shannon. I just wanted to say a quick thank you. Thank you to CFILC and to all of you that participated today in the webinar. If you have any questions for Department of Rehabilitation or for us, you can always call one of the offices using that link that we showed you and find the DOR office closest to you. If you would like to contact the presenters themselves, you can email our section's inbox. We're the workforce development section, so you can email wdsinfo@dor.ca.gov. That's wdsinfo@dor.ca.gov.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Please remember to fill out the survey. Have a good rest of the afternoon. Bye.